Buddy, this is the digital asset investor. I finally got a new microphone. I don't know if it's going to make that big of a difference or not, but you can tell me in the comments section. Today, I wanted to ask you a question. And the question is Ripple XRP going to be your Mark Cuban moment? I refer to a Mark Cuban moment as that one moment in everybody's life, and most people probably never get a shot at this moment, but that one moment that is the defining moment of your life to have your life change for the better or for the worse. I'm going to explain what I'm talking about, but I wanted to start by showing you this video that I was driving down the road today, and I was listening to this video on YouTube. This Mike Novogratz, he was a partner at Goldman Sachs. I pulled up his thing just so I could show you here on Wikipedia. He was a partner at Goldman Sachs, and then he went on to be a part of Fortress. What is it called? Fortress Investments. It's a hedge fund, and he's been running this hedge fund, but he's gotten really heavily into cryptocurrencies. But anyway, back to the video. I was watching this video, and you should watch it. It's called Novogratz Talks Cryptocurrencies and Regulation. It's done by Bloomberg, and you can look for it on YouTube. And I encourage you to listen to this because this is a very smart man, and he's well connected, and he's very wealthy, knows what he's talking about. But I want you to really listen when it starts at about 25 minutes, because at 25 minutes, he starts to compare where we are in the cryptocurrencies to the internet bubble back in the 90s, because obviously he was there. He's old enough to have experienced that. I was there. I was knee deep in it, and I saw it firsthand myself. And from day one, I've seen cryptocurrencies as that type of an opportunity, but probably 100 times that opportunity. And like I've told you before, it's an opportunity where for the first time, your average Joe can get a piece of the action before companies start going public. That's what's so unique about this. And that's what I spotted from the beginning. But back to Mike Novogratz. At about 25 minutes in this video, the interviewer asks him what he made of December back when we had the run up. And the interviewer's asking him if that was the bubble and this and that. And Novogratz goes on and he begins to make the exact same point that I've made a lot of times on my channel here, which is that you cannot, in this something with this big a potential, you cannot have a bubble when you only have $300 billion in it. And he makes the point that back then with the internet, when it hit bubble status, which was around late 99, you were into the trillions and trillions of dollars, and he made the point that in today's dollars, he said we won't even be really talking about a real bubble, until we're at the $20 trillion mark. Okay. Now, the one other thing he said that I wanted to bring to your mind, he said that when he looks at cryptocurrencies, that he sees us he said that in December, when we were at that kind of momentum, he said that's more like 1996 internet. Okay. So what I wanted to go over today, because I saw it all unfold. You're all familiar with Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban became a billionaire out of the internet bubble. He became a billionaire. In my opinion, he was one of the luckiest people to come out of the internet, period. In the 90s, that is. Well, so the reason I referred to this as a Mark Cuban moment is because Mark Cuban had the moment of moments, and I want to kind of tell you about it for those of you that don't know. Many people that are into cryptocurrencies and probably that listen to my channel are younger people, and you can really learn a lot from this guy. If you don't know who he is, you can go on, I believe it's on CNBC every night. He's on Shark Tank, where they have different people come in and pitch their products or ideas, and the the guys that are on the panel, like Mark Cuban, try to make deals to invest or to not invest in the ideas. But anyway, this is an article here about Mark Cuban remembers the exact moment he became a billionaire. He technically became a billionaire, I believe, when he was, I believe, as I recall, his stock was, his stock went public. And so he became a billionaire on paper. And then what happened was Yahoo came in, and here's an article about it. Yahoo decided that they would buy broadcast.com. Broadcast.com is the company that Mark Cuban created in the internet. But what I wanted to tell you about this is that for those of you that were around like I was, this was at a time when we had what was called dial-up internet connections, where you would actually click a button and your computer would start making all these sounds that sounded like fuzz and all this, and it would connect through your landline phone to the internet. And once you were connected, the speeds of the internet were so slow. The kids of today would just laugh at the whole idea of this. It was ridiculous. You would be online trying to buy something, and then all of a sudden your computer would be kicked offline and you'd have to do the dial up again. And this would happen all the time. And so the reason I explain that to you is because Mark Cuban, at a time when the internet was not even at a point speed-wise where you could even create a company that was actually viable like the one that he created at the time, he created broadcast.com. And the idea was that he was a sports lover and he wanted to be able to stream sports over the internet. Well, for any of us that were there, what was so ridiculous about this was that if you can't even sustain an internet connection to stay online and buy something, the idea that you're going to be able to stream a game for any period of time, that you're going to really be able to listen to it, was ridiculous. But you want to make ridiculous times a few billion, then look at this article and you'll see. Yahoo agreed to buy it for $5.7 billion. And Mark Cuban, a lot of that $5.7 billion was received in their stock. Okay, so, but what was interesting about that is, and I'll show you the timeline. This is a little chart that shows the rise and fall of the internet. It was, I think it was 1998. So if you look at this chart, this is Yahoo stock price more in doubles. This is when Yahoo went public here in 96, April 12th, 96. Somewhere here in 98, they buy broadcast.com for $5.7 billion. Okay. Well, if you look, the internet topped out right here, March 2000. So Mark Cuban recognized that right in here, he recognized that he needed to try to protect himself and liquidate his Yahoo stock and cash out, because I think he foresaw this bubble happening. And so if you look here, I'm looking at Investopedia. It says broadcast.com was later acquired by Yahoo. He took $1.7 billion was his part in Yahoo stock. And he foresaw the dot-com bubble burst. He began to option and liquidate his Yahoo stock as a means to protect his wealth. Okay, so here's a guy who got out at the perfect moment. Okay, now I want to take you back when I'm making this point. I want to take you back to this Mike Novogratz. He says in this video that where we're at in cryptocurrencies, he would compare it more to 96. Okay, well, he may be even a little off than that. It may be more like 95, 94, but I think 96 might be a pretty good indicator. But the point is that the real craziness has not even begun, because another point that Mike Novogratz made in that video is that the internet bubble, it was really a bubble of wealthy people in the United States, whereas the cryptocurrency phenomena it's a global phenomena. He said you have people kids in China that are buying cryptocurrencies. This is a global phenomena, and it's happening in reverse. Whereas in the .com, first you had the institutions. In the cryptocurrency, you have the retail. Not just you really don't even have the retail yet, but you have kids behind their computers first, and retail is just beginning, and then the institutional is going to kind of happen simultaneously on top of the retail. Retail meaning when the Fidelities come in and the E-Trades and all of them. But let me round back out to this Mark Cuban point. So Mark Cuban sees this coming, but here's the really hilarious part. Is I pulled up this article because this is funny. This is an article that looks back at that period of time. So Mark Cuban, right here, he sells it. He's able to liquidate. He never sees this 2000 moment. He's able to become a billionaire and liquidate out of his Yahoo stock before any of it crashes. And so, but here's the funny part, and here's the part that I find unbelievable. Here's a guy who started a company, broadcast.com, right in the middle of a period of time. And he became a billionaire, not really off of even a working, functional company. It was off of an idea of something that would be. Broadcast, when Yahoo purchased Broadcast, they actually, I believe it was either shut down within 6 months to a year. So they basically just blew $5.7 billion. But if you look at this right here, this article is about the 5 worst internet acquisitions of all time. And it goes down, and when you get to broadcast.com, it has this little snippet. It says, Yahoo executives got way ahead of themselves in acquiring broadcast.com, an online television site founded by Mark Cuban for $5.7 billion in 1999. Slow dial-up connection made watching video a test of patience, as did the laughably meager library of shows. Think 1960-era monster movies and Victoria's Secret fashion shows. The service soon disappeared, as did the executives who engineered the deal. So I tell you all of that to illustrate a point about your investment. 2 points, actually. The first point I want to illustrate is you're not in a broadcast.com. Ripple XRP is more like a Google or an Amazon. It's one of the ones that's the real deal. It's not some idea pie in the sky of something that could happen down the road. It's on the verge of being implemented right now. And it's the only, of all the cryptocurrencies, it's the only one that is right there at the cusp of happening before your eyes. And we're not even really entering the real hype yet. What you're invested in, you could, if you own enough of it, you may not have a Mark Cuban moment, but you may very well have a mini Mark Cuban moment, and a moment that you can't even imagine. And so I ask you that to make I ask the question, is Ripple XRP going to be your Mark Cuban moment? Not to say that Ripple XRP is a broadcast.com. It's actually just the opposite. You've got a moment, you've got a chance at a moment that will far exceed anything in terms of what Mark Cuban did, because Ripple XRP is actually going to bring something major to the world. This is a revolution, is what this is, and I've said that before. But I also ask this question to you because I want to know if you're ready. And I'm going to go over this as the final thing. Back in December, and I don't ever talk about what I have in Ripple, in XRP, but I'll be doing just fine. I'll leave it at that. But here's what I want to say to you. Back in December, and many of you may have faced this and not even known it. Back in December, I was close to a point where I thought about cashing out some of mine. But in hindsight, I'm glad that I was not ready, because, and the reason I've got Coinbase here, and a lot of you do not like it when I bring up Coinbase because you don't like them. The fact is, I don't like Coinbase any more than you do, but I'm going to make a point here, and you all need to think about it. If this was your Mark Cuban moment and it was time for you to hit the exit, do you have your exit strategy? Do you know what you would do? And let me expound on that. I still believe that Coinbase, as much as a lot of us don't like the fact, I still believe that Coinbase is one of the most viable exit strategies when it comes to being able to do large sums of money. For one reason is because the banks, the US banks at least, seem to be willing to deal with Coinbase more so than a lot of these other cryptocurrency. Could you cash out from Binance into your bank account? I doubt it. Into a US bank account, I don't think you could right now. But what I do know is that in December, when I was thinking about it, I could have cashed out some. But what I've spent, and this is what I really want you to understand, when the market is down like this, I've been through several of these ups and downs. When the market is up, all of these exchanges get log jams and they can't approve you for this or that. They can't approve you for higher limits. They can't approve new accounts. It happens when it gets really crazy. So my point in telling you all of this is, if you don't have your exit strategy set up, let's say Coinbase is your exit strategy. Do you know what your withdrawal limit is on Coinbase? Do you have it properly linked to your bank account yet? Because what I've spent this time doing is increasing my limits on Coinbase, because I still see that as my fastest exit strategy when I'm ready to go out. GDAX, Coinbase, a combination of the two. So I urge all of you to get your exit strategy set up. If you have low limits for withdrawing from your Coinbase or GDAX account into your bank account, you need to work on increasing it while the market is slow, because when it speeds up, it'll be too late. Well, I hope I made some good points there. Again, I'm the digital asset investor, and I am not an investment advisor. This is not financial advice. I'm just doing this for entertainment purposes. I want you to, if you haven't already, I'm going to put the Ledger Nano S in the top of the descriptions because people keep asking me about them. It's the safest way that exists today to store your digital currencies or digital assets, whatever you would like to call them. And so you need to get one. And if you haven't already, they're about $100, but if you own enough to be a life changer, it's well worth the money now. So anyway, I appreciate y'all listening, and I will be posting another video probably next week. And keep sending in your contest. Keep on posting photos to do the contest, because it's going to be running until July 1st. And I did a specific video on the contest if you haven't seen it, so just look through my videos and you'll see it. Thanks. Have a good weekend.